Two men broke into your house last night to end you. You did what you had to do. Now you're sitting at a table across from the man who sent them, and he's asking if you want more coffee. But that's the middle of the story. Let's go back to the beginning. You get the assignment on a Tuesday. Your supervisor slides a folder across the desk and says just 3 words. We need you. Inside the folder is a name and a photograph. The man in the photo looks like someone's grandfather. Your supervisor tells you this man is the leader of his local Ku Klux Klan. Your job is to become his friend. What your supervisor doesn't tell you, what he can't tell you, is that this case is going to force you to make a decision about an innocent woman that has no good answer. A decision that will keep you up for years after it's over. But that comes later. First, you have to become someone else entirely. You move to the man's town 6 weeks before you even try to meet him. You rent a small place, you get a job at the hardware store on Main, you wave at neighbors, you learn which diner has the best biscuits, and you go there every morning at 6:12 until the waitress pours your coffee before you sit down. You become a regular. A man with a pickup truck and a grudge about the federal government. That's your cover. A man who hates the system. You don't rant, you let it slip out in pieces. A comment about taxes, a shake of the head when the news comes on, fake work history, fake ex-wife in Tallahassee. You build a backstory so tight that no one should suspect anything. The problem is, should. Because on day 9, a man in a gray truck parks across the street from your house for 40 minutes. He doesn't get out, he doesn't check a phone, he just sits there with the engine running, looking at your front door. Could be nothing, could be a guy waiting on a friend. You write down his plate number anyway. First contact with the target happens at a cookout 3 weeks later. Someone introduces you to the man from the photograph. His name is Dale. He shakes your hand and asks where you're from. You answer. He talks about his tomato garden for 10 straight minutes. Soil mix, deer problems, how the heat's been rough this year. You nod. You don't know anything about tomato gardens, but your grandma loved gardening. You tell him you actually love to garden as well, using whatever you can remember. You're connecting with him, relating to him. Major progress. Then you do it. You slip in some comments to let him know you're an ally. Comments that make him understand you're on the same side. He smiles, but that's all. For now. A week later, Dale invites you to a meeting. It's a back room behind a machine shop. 12 men, folding chairs, fluorescent light buzzing overhead. The room smells like motor oil and cigarettes. You notice 2 men in the corner immediately. They're not talking to anyone. They're not eating. They're watching. One of them has his chair angled so his back isn't against the wall. It's against the door. Nobody sits like that by accident. The other strange thing about this room is how normal it feels. The people there, they're your neighbors, your mechanic, the type of guy who may have patched your roof last spring. They laugh the same way. They complain about gas prices. You sit, you listen, you keep your answers short, nod at the right moments, let the silence do the work. The talk starts harmless. The economy, crimes from the local paper, the usual how things used to be. Then it shifts. They slowly stop holding back. The language gets uglier, and by the end, they're saying things that twist your stomach, and they're saying them like they're talking about the weather. You drive home, park in your driveway. You know there's a problem already. Those 2 men who watched you the entire night never blinked. Do they already know you're undercover? No, they can't. It's not possible. You realize you're just being paranoid. One thing is for sure. Next Thursday, you have to walk back into that room. Your FBI handler wants a report every 72 hours. You drive 12 miles to a payphone near a closed shop and make the call fast. Never the same phone twice, never the same route home. You become paranoid about being paranoid. If you're too careful, they notice. If you're not careful enough, you miss something. Or worse, you get caught. And getting caught here isn't an arrest. It's much worse. So you adjust. You forget a weekly meeting once so you seem normal. You make yourself imperfect on purpose. Next Thursday, you go back. The two watchers are completely different this time. Friendly, laughing. One of them pats your shoulder when you walk in, like you've known each other for years. That scares you more than the staring did. 3 weeks in, Dale invites you to his house for dinner. His wife makes pot roast. His granddaughter sits on his lap and shows you a drawing she made at school. Dale looks at you and says, "You're good people. I'm glad you moved here." And you feel it, a real warmth in your chest. For half a second, you forget what this man is. You forget why you're sitting at his table. You just feel like someone's friend. You drive home and sit in your driveway for 20 minutes with the engine running. That's the moment you realize this job doesn't just ask you to pretend to be someone else. It asks you to become someone else. And the longer you stay, the harder it gets to remember which one is real. The next day, Dale pulls you aside after the meeting, puts a hand on your shoulder, and says, "Next week, we need to talk to you about something." You smile and say sure. That sentence means one of two things. They trust you enough to go deeper, or they think there's something off about you. Next week, you pull into the machine shop lot. Something is already wrong. Dale, the two watchers, a fourth man you've never seen before who is built like a refrigerator and hasn't smiled once since you walked in. The door closes behind you. You hear the lock turn. Then the big man steps forward. "Take your shirt off." Your stomach drops. You're wearing a wire. You have exactly 1 second to keep your face steady. You laugh and say, "Excuse me?" "We check everyone who comes into a conversation like this," Dale says. His voice is flat. His eyes are not friendly. Your brain is running at 1,000 miles an hour. The wire runs along the inside lining of your jacket. The transmitter is sewn into the collar. One device, one place to find it. You pull your shirt over your head. You hand it to the refrigerator. He runs his hands across every seam. He checks the collar. He checks everything. Then he hands it back. "Jacket, too," he says. You take it off. He turns the jacket inside out. His fingers move across the lining toward the collar. You watch his hands. You cannot look away. You just stare at his fingers moving 1 inch at a time toward the sewn transmitter, and you think that this is it. They caught you. His fingers stop half an inch short. He hands it back. "He's clean," he says. Dale nods, and now, apparently, they trust you. Dale sits down. The four men lean in, and that's when he says her name. A civil rights attorney in Atlanta. He describes how she's been helping send their friends to jail. He describes what needs to happen to make her stop. He's saying she needs to disappear. You sit in that chair absorbing a murder plot against an innocent person, and you nod slowly. But even after the check, the two watchers in the corner still haven't relaxed. Their eyes move to you every few minutes. They ran the test. You passed the test. But they still don't believe you. You wonder if it was something you said. Or maybe they could sense your nervousness during the wire check. Either way, you need to be even more careful now. You drive to the payphone. You're 2 miles out when you see headlights behind you. You don't speed up. You make a right turn. The headlights turn right. You make a left, then another right, then a left again. The headlights stay exactly 4 car lengths back through every single turn. Then they pull off suddenly onto a side road and the headlights disappear. At the time, you think you lost them. You make your call to your handler and you drive home. Then, A stone's throw away from your front door, you see it. A car parked tight against the wall of an abandoned house on the left side of your street, hidden from every direction except yours. From that exact position, your front door is completely visible. That's when you understand. The tail wasn't trying to follow you. They wanted to see you leave. While you were gone, someone else moved into position. You act like you went to bed, but you don't sleep. You lie there with your hand 3 inches from a silenced pistol on the nightstand. Every sound the house makes sets your nerves on edge. At 2 a.m., you hear it. The back door. Someone picking the lock, taking their time, trying to be quiet. Then the softest creak of a hinge